of putting standard supply systems forward is show Army Material Command, show Defense Logistics Agency, the warfighter needs these things in this place, then they move it to us. On the stage, as CG talked about, you wouldn't move houses and not change your ship to address in Amazon. That's exactly what we were doing for decades in this theater. Using this concept, we're actually able to actualize that vision and show on the ground. All of those locations are also partnered with Army pre-positioned stocks that provide the relevant posture to be responsive to a crisis or a conflict in the theater. We don't have to ship equipment from home station. We put it forward where needed. It's co-located with the maintenance and supply capabilities to keep it ready for the warfighter to show up, whether it's response to a typhoon or a conflict in the first and second island chains. In placing those over the last 2 years have actually allowed us to rehearse the strategic legs of our movement. There are several pictures in the video you just saw of Army pre-positioned stocks rolling off ships in the Philippines and in Australia over the last 2 years. Mission commanded by soldiers from 8th TSC, put there, sustained by our industry partners under various contracting mechanisms to keep them ready for the warfighter and exercised throughout the campaign season. We pulled several sets out last year during Talisman Sabre. These sets cover the range of military capabilities, from sustainment sets focused on our reception, staging, onward movement, integration, to the engineering assets to do the construction, road repair, port repairs to sustain the force, and the protection to keep those capabilities in the fight. It is not all about tanks and strikers and the infantry support vehicles that are needed for the warfighters on the front lines. In the theater, when directed by the combatant commander at the point of need, we're able to start receiving those warfighters as they roll off the ships. It's a very exciting time to have sustainment posture in the theater that diminishes the tax of the 7,000-mile wet gap crossing that we'd have to do from the United States into the theater. Have capability, both the equipment, the supply systems, and the inland distribution networks to support whatever we're directed to do by the combatant commander. Sir?
Yeah, so the industry partners, you'll appreciate this. So the other reason we're doing this is in the past when you would do pre-position equipment, and I'll use Korea as an example, it was a break glass situation. You had to go ask heaven and God to get release of APS-4. We have flipped that on its head here in this theater. If you pre-position it forward, it needs to be able to be used. Now you got to go through the proper authorities, still heaven and God, but you now need to use the equipment and use the supplies. And that's critical because, as Zach just articulated, we need to make sales, and I use that term because it's an industry term and you know what I mean. If I'm going to put stocks forward, they go bad if I don't use them. So we got to have a rotational plan for stocks, and if I'm going to put equipment forward, I need to use it. Because there's nothing worse than putting a piece of vehicle on the ground and you don't use it, it's going to go bad, which increases my maintenance burden. So now you're going to exercise it through persistent presence forward. And you can only do that if you pre-stock forward, which is exactly what we're doing. Having stuff forward that's not being used, it's going to go bad. We're going to rotate the stocks. We're going to consume the stocks. Food, water, fuel, petroleum products, barrier material, repair parts, ammunition. I can go on and on and on. But this is a mindset change and a capability change that in the past, we didn't have always the authorities to do. We do have that now, and we are fully exercising that. I say that to my industry partners because I need you to build more, and I need you to be scalable. So that, hey, if I'm responding to a typhoon and I suddenly need more meals, I'm gonna consume the 45 days of supply I have forward, but guess what I immediately need to do is the first MRE case gets issued out. I need to make more MREs, right? And I will make those. You do. So I'm going to have you do that. All right? You go to the next slide. Hey, so, we talk about it today. Credible deterrence. I want adversaries to know that each and every day, the U.S. Army, along with its partners, I've got 2 contracting brigades out here. I've got a transportation brigade. I got 2 Army field sustainment brigades. And I've got a joint force of my teammates at PAC-AF, PAC Fleet, and MAR-4 PAC that every day we're out here doing logistics and we're sharing lessons learned. Okay, I set it up on the stage. Every day is not smooth out here. Matter of fact, every day usually brings a crisis. For those in the audience, you know what I'm talking about. But that's how you learn, that's how you compete, that's how you figure things out, and then you write the playbook that gives you a starting point. Where we have failed and where we're going to do better at is bringing in more industry partners than we already have and start bringing you into some of our challenges. Okay, this is where I'm going to need your help. Okay, and I mentioned it a little bit up on the stage. It's about contracting differently. It's about thinking differently and having scalable contracts that understand a need, and I have to have the contract vehicles with which to do that, but we need to have contracts with which, you know, I may only need you for 30 days out of a year, but I want to write a 10-year contract with you that gives you manners of requirements. Could be stevedoring, could be warehousing, could be distribution,